Yes, Dennis, you're exactly right. The third kingdom, the rock or the stone, makes its appearance in the days of the last kingdoms, the kingdoms of the feet. It is not a restored literal Israel. This kingdom that is cut out without hands from this mountain is a whole new kingdom. It is a kingdom which is not called out of some other kingdom by a mighty hand. In fact, we see that this stone is cut out without hands. This stone makes its appearance, in fact, based upon the prophecies that God has made. And they choose to come out together,
Yeah.
and are given the title, the kingdom of heaven, and in fact are the third and final kingdom, the kingdom that triumphs ultimately at the end of time. So in the days of the kingdoms of the feet, the God of heaven will establish a kingdom which will never be destroyed. Daniel 7. Daniel 7, the third kingdom makes its appearance in a time which you would say would be during the kingdom of the feet. The kingdom of Rome, the two legs of iron, are, according to God, and what would appear in the prophecy in Daniel 7, also represented as the great and terrible beast, or the fourth beast. So the legs of iron and the great and terrible beast, the fourth of the great beasts of Daniel 7, represent the Roman Empire. The horns on the head of this beast represent the 10 divisions that the Roman Empire became, but they were still seen as divisions of the Roman Empire. There was still an emperor, or two. There was an emperor for the west, and an emperor for the east. There were...
One in Rome, one in Constantinople.
We also know that later on the Germanic people had, in fact, the Roman emperor of the west lived in Germany, was German. This continued until, and we're told that in verse 11 of Daniel 7, I kept looking because of the sound of the boastful words which the horn was speaking, this horn with eyes and a mouth. I kept looking until the beast was slain, and it would be the fourth beast, because that's the last beast to be described here. And its body was destroyed and given to the burning fire.
Now, does that mean that that's after the seventh trumpet, that's when it's destroyed, or is it before that?
Well, explain why that would be after the seventh trumpet. Do we have any trumpets here mentioned?
No, but to connect it with Revelation,
Yes.
we know that Revelation's about the end time. And we see the seven trumpets. We were just talking about that yesterday.
Okay, when does the first trumpet of the seven blow? Or when did it blow?
It hasn't blown yet.
And why would you be able to establish the fact that this first trumpet has not blown yet?
Well,
Because
if
there
the
hasn't
people
been,
have been killed.
there hasn't been anything like what is described in that from a physical
Because
standpoint.
The censer has
Has
not been cast
down,
out.
right.
Right.
You see, the censer doesn't even come into play until the holy people are vindicated at the end of the 2300 evenings and mornings.
Right.
Correct?
That's absolutely correct.
So if the use of the censer by the high priest doesn't start or begin until the 2300 days are over, the 2300 days are still continuing on during this period of time.
My question is, when is the timing event that this beast is destroyed and put into the fire? It's gone. When is that timing?
When the last Roman emperor ceases to reign. And,
Around 350, 300.
no, that,
Oh, no, that would be 14 something or other.
I think it was 1453,
Yeah,
depending
something like
upon
that.
when you, which historian expert you're talking about, roughly 1450 to 1460, somewhere in there. The last of the Roman emperors is defeated, driven out, and
Dethroned.
So we're not talking about papal,
No.
the power,
No.
okay, all right.
well,
I just want to make sure that people understand that.
the papacy is represented here, but the papacy is represented as a ruler over, that has dominion over territory or land. Okay? It's not necessarily a spiritual ruler, but a world ruler who has dominion over the territory. And
Right.
these territories were referred to as the papal states. And when we study about the beast and all of that, we will, of Revelation 13, then we'll get in a little deeper into the papal states and what they represented. In Daniel 7, when it says that the court set for judgment and his dominion, the horns with eyes and mouth are taken away, annihilated and destroyed forever, we will see actually in recent history where that in fact took place.
Great.
But here, what we're talking about is the end of the Roman Empire represented by the legs of iron, and we move into the feet partly of iron and partly of clay. So it's a mixture of strong kingdoms that have great strength and kingdoms that are hard but brittle, like baked clay. They don't adhere to one another, and it's a very unstable situation as we see today. But during the time, at the time that the fourth beast is destroyed and disappears, the rest of the beasts, which is in verse 12 of Daniel 7, their dominion was taken away, but an extension of life was granted them for an appointed period of time. And we see the rest of the beasts, the lion, the bear, and the leopard, represented in the final beast of Revelation, the one that is coming out of the sea.
In Revelation 13.
Revelation 13. Verse 13, I kept looking in the night visions, and behold, with the clouds of heaven, one like a son of man was coming. And he came up to the Ancient of Days, and was presented before him. And that Hebrew word clouds there means kind of a divine covering. So he's clothed in divinity. He came up to the Ancient of Days and was presented before him.